As NFL free agency truly begins to wind down, we're taking a look at some updated Dolphins draft targets for the first round of the upcoming NFL Draft. 18 different players plus a bunch of names that I don't think have any chance of actually being there, so you know one of them will be there for Miami. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us here at Dolphins Today. We will have Dolphins draft videos for you with the draft a little over a month away. News on meetings, rumors as to who the team could be taking, mock drafts aplenty. I am a huge draft nerd. I anchor our draft coverage here at Chat Sports, so you know it's pretty good stuff. And of course, we'll have Dolphins draft day coverage for you, all for free. Hit that sub button right now. When it comes to round one, I think there are 2.5-ish areas this team is probably going to consider. Number one is addressing the interior of the offensive line, most likely guard, they need help. Defensive tackle really stands out as an area of concern they have to find a way to address at some point early on. Or they could just go pure BPA, a.k.a. best player available. That could be a franchise long-term left tackle who maybe wouldn't help you in the short term. Wide receiver 3, we know how much Miami likes speed. Edge rusher could also be a long-term area. Plus, receiver, tackle, edge rusher are premium positions that make sense. I'll mention safety, and I guess you could tie in corner in this conversation if you wanted to, but it's not really a safety who's worth a round one pick. Now, with where the Dolphins are drafting, 10 names I think you can comfortably cross out. Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, Rome Odunze are going top 10, if not top 6. Joe Alt, I'd be blown away if he got past Tennessee. Maybe there's a scenario in which Talise Fuaga or Olaf Shanu sneak out of the top 15, but I doubt they get out of the top 20. Terrion Arnold, Quinyon Mitchell, maybe one of the corners slides. Those are probably the most realistic options, but corner's not a huge need anyway for this team with the signing of Kendall Fuller, Ramsey, Needham, Kohu, and Cam Smith. Dallas Turner, I think, is going to go top 10. And Brock Bowers, there's no way he gets past the Bengals, right? So crossing off those 10, who do you want the Dolphins to draft in round one? We're going to go position by position here and rank some of those players within those groupings, but realistic names only. Who do you want the Miami Dolphins to draft? Sound off for me in the comment section right now at the pinned comment of today's video. If the ad plays, ignore it. Drop that prospect you want to add. I want to focus on the interior offensive line to begin. I think Troy Fautanu could be such a perfect fit for what the Dolphins are looking for. You could plug him in as a starter day one at left guard. He played left tackle for the Huskies at Washington and was very good. A little bit of penalties, a couple of hurries, overall solid player. The concerns were that he can't play left tackle. I think that's more of a technique thing, like he kind of oversets and allows people to beat him back to the inside. The guard move would fix that short term, but he has the length to stay at tackle. So you could put him in at left guard, and depending on what happens long-term with Teron Armstead, maybe that's your left tackle in the future. Or he just stays at guard and plays really well there. I don't know if he gets past like Seattle at 16. They need a guard. They have his OC and his own line coach now employed on the staff, but it'd be a good pick for Miami. Number 2 is Graham Barton. Now, he doesn't have the arm length to, I think, truly hang at tackle in the NFL. Missed some time this past year due to injury, but also still played pretty well, and I think his 2022 tape is even more impressive. There is some center flex. He did play center his first year at Duke. I think for Miami with Aaron Brewer locked in at center, I think guard would make the most sense there. So Fautanu and Barton, I think, are your two most logical offensive line targets for Miami. Jackson Powers-Johnson, next up here. I think he could play guard. I would wonder if he's a better fit at center. I think the little bit less position flex is why he's third on this list, even though you can argue he could be 1 or 2 among the interior offensive line options. Number 4 is Zach Frazier. Coaches are going to love this guy. But I think in the end, he's more of a top 40 pick than he is a top 20-ish pick. And I don't know if he's as flexible even as JPJ is to go play guard. We will have daily news, rumors, draft coverage, free agency, trades, and more for you right here on Dolphins Today. So please do not miss out. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/DolphinsNews. Let's go to the defensive line here. Johnny Newton is first up. You're trying to replace Christian Wilkins. That's going to be almost impossible to do, especially year one. Do you want a productive player who has gotten better each year of his collegiate career, who offers you disruption and pass protection, and at times had some of the more dominant games among defensive linemen in college football? Johnny Newton is your man. I am staring down Johnny Newton out of Illinois and Byron Murphy II out of Texas and going, those guys make so much sense for Miami. You replace the biggest free agent you lost in Christian Wilkins with a talented first-round caliber player. I actually think Newton is a better prospect than Murphy. I think I might be alone on that, but I certainly would not be mad if the Dolphins took Byron Murphy. I think that'd be a logical fit. Good value, fills a need, really talented player. Newton or Murphy in round one, I think if you're the Dolphins, come away going, yeah, we feel good about that pick. I do want to mention a couple other edges here. That's Jared Verse from FSU and Laiatu Latu out of UCLA. The injuries to Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb make me go, well, maybe. But also that'd be your number 3 or number 4 pass rusher in year one, and that's not maximizing your return on your single biggest asset in the draft. Dark horse name here is Darius Robinson, who I think will fit really well in the NFL as a 5 technique. So kind of put Sealer and nose guard and Robinson out there on base downs. Then on pass rushing downs, pull your nose guard off, put Robinson and Sealer on the inside. That's intriguing. I don't think he's really worth a top 25 pick, but if a trade down happens or if the board falls a really bad way for Miami, Robinson could make some sense. When it comes to round one, which position would you rather draft? OL for the offensive line or DT for defensive tackle? The Dolphins kind of struggled when the wide receiver 3 was pressed into more playing time because of injuries to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. So I do want to mention some receivers because the value is going to be there throughout the draft. Brian Thomas brings a bigger bodied threat than what the Dolphins have and fits their number one need, speed. He is a 4.33 guy at 6'3", 200-plus pounds, but 1,000 yards in the high-powered, prolific passing game for LSU. Also, I think is the least likely to make it of these receivers. One of 2 Texas boys, or both Texas boys, I should say, are up next. A.D. Mitchell and Xavier Worthy. I will make note, Mike McDaniel present at the Texas Pro Day that went on Wednesday. Both guys offer the speed the Dolphins love. You know, A.D. Mitchell's a bigger player on the outside, better red zone threat. The touchdowns bear that out. Also had more big plays, a higher average in terms of catches. Worthy would fit so well in Miami. And if they didn't have Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill, I'd be like, put Worthy in Miami. It'll work so well. We know that can work because there are elements of Jalen Waddle to his game to a certain extent. Maybe Jameson Williams is even a better comp there. But does wide receiver 3 need to be your first-round pick? I'm not so sure. I will say from a fit perspective here, number 4, Ladd McConkey, was really intriguing. He is not your archetypal slot wide receiver who can just be shifty and quick. He's actually super fast and has medical concerns that raise red flags for me. But him, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, highly intriguing, but not with where the Dolphins are picking. I don't think you would be making a good decision, as fun as it would be if you took Ladd McConkey at 21. Does he get to them at 55? No, I don't think so either. So trade down would have to be your path there, or trade up maybe in round 2 with a team that doesn't have a third-round pick. Seems unlikely. Keon Coleman at 5. I kind of went, Coleman might be a better player for many than McConkey. I think that in terms of what you're looking for with the Dolphins, Ladd probably makes a little bit more sense. The receivers are fun. They're sexy. They're dynamic. They're explosive. It's fun to talk about. But would you actually draft a wide receiver in round 1? Y for yes, N for no. I want to go back to the offensive tackles here to wrap things up. Players that if the board fell the right or maybe the wrong way, you could take and groom long-term. Amarius Mims is inexperienced, but I think has the tools to be a left tackle or a right tackle long-term. And maybe you give him a year behind Terron Armstead, plug him in. It's not the worst idea, just a non-impactful idea. J.C. Latham, I do think could play guard. Now, I think tackle was where he should play first, but I'll put him on this list because I do think there is guard flexibility here. Maybe you could even argue he should go above Amarius Mims on this list. Jordan Morgan played tackle at Arizona, but has sub 33-inch arms. That will be a he can't play tackle metric for a lot of NFL teams out there. So probably not at 21. Crazy stuff happens, but could also be an option down the board for Miami. Also worth mentioning is Tyler Guyton, who is more raw than he is inexperienced. He hasn't played much either, but needs technique work there. Wouldn't love Guyton. I don't know if he's a great fit at guard, so I'd rather have interest in an actual guard we mentioned earlier, or I'd love to get one of those DTs in Miami.